I had a wonderful client approach me this week and ask me if they can make a certain outcome that they're desiring to see in their external world manifest. If they can make their desire be the one that the world sees happening. And I wanted to talk about this because this is exactly what I'm talking about when I'm telling you guys that you're not changing a reality out there. And if you still are holding on to that assumption and that idea that you need to make the outer world change and conform and show up differently for you to be fulfilled, you are not going to see any changes in that outer world because, as I continuously keep saying, it is reflecting back your state of consciousness. And the material for your reality is coming from a field of energy that is eternal and that will always be available. So you're not changing anything. You're not making anything go away. You're not making anything appear. You're not making anyone or anything change their mind. You're not making any one group or entity wrong or right or disappear or show up. You are simply changing your perception of the all that is so that you can perceive and experience a different portion of it. That's it. That's what your reality is. Your reality, everything in your reality, everything that you are aware of is your state of consciousness being outpictured, and it is pulling from the eternal and unchangeable source of everything you could possibly ever imagine and more. Everything that ever has been is now. Everything that ever will be is now. And it is now in the eternal space of the all that is, which it's silly to say it's a space. It's not confined to anything. And that is all connected. There is no separation. There is one consciousness. Somebody commented recently asking about the collective consciousness, how it, what does it mean? These things we're seeing in the world, what does it mean about the collective consciousness? And you will never hear me speak of a collective consciousness because the idea of a collective consciousness, that term is a 3D explanation for our seemingly separate experience that we're having. It's how we explain it. It's how we're talking about it. It seems as though consciousness is confined and separated amongst individuals and amongst, time periods and religions and all these other forms of seeming separation, geographically, right? But the truth is there is only one consciousness. And when you, as consciousness, become aware of something, consciousness, the same consciousness, is also perceiving that from every other perception, every other vantage point. So as you are looking at the world and you're looking at it, let's say you're looking at, politically what's going on, you're looking at that as an observer of it, but there is consciousness experiencing it as the victim, as the ringleaders of it, the perpetrators, the villains. And it's important to note that it's all the same consciousness. It appears separate. That's it. In other words, it is simply your awareness that is causing anything and everything to be. Now, it will always be available in the quantum field. It will always be available in the source of all that is. But if you're experiencing it from, if you're being conscious of it, you're being aware of it, in that now moment, you are creating or manifesting that whole entire reality as true and valid and real. And again, it's just an experience. It's a real experience, but it's just an experience. It's a perspective of what is eternally available to consciousness to experience. And there is only the now moment. So again, when you perceive something in the now moment, consciousness is The same consciousness is playing all the parts of that. It's perceiving all the perspectives. But we are experiencing it from a specific view, from a particular vantage point, from a particular experience, perspective. That's the word I was looking for. So, and that's, I know it's complicated and I know it's hard to wrap your head around, but if you can just keep going back to the notion that there is no separation and there is no linear time, there is only the now moment, that pretty much will resolve all the complications that arise. And as I did, I grappled with this for decades and I asked all the questions. I asked myself all the questions and I kept, thinking and thinking and thinking and reading and thinking and reading and thinking and reading and talking about it. And finally was able to have I want to say visceral understanding. I don't know that that's the right word, but I was able to have an understanding of it that I still struggle to put into words, to be honest. I can feel it. I can see it. I can experience it in my mind. I can understand it, but explaining it can be a struggle sometimes. But yeah. And, one of the things that helped me a lot, or that I continue to remind myself and just be aware of, was that everything that I am experiencing, the whole world as I know it, I only know it through my eyes, through my perception, through my experience. And people will come to me, right? They come to you and they seem separate and they talk about their experiences and their beliefs and the things they're doing and the life they're living when you're not seeing them. But even that, you're only experiencing that through your perception. You are not able to have a bird's eye view of reality. You're not able to, because everything is through your perception. You are perceiving this person, that situation, that circumstance, that outcome, all of it. You're perceiving it. And so when you know that and you really start to kind of look at that more and more, and then that, you keep saying or hearing that there is no separation. So ultimately there is no separation. We can't draw a line in the sand and say that, well, there's no separation, but then there's also a collective consciousness that's actually different pieces of consciousness that are separated, having a different experience. But you create your reality, so you can also put yourself in a reality where those experiences are different and not happening that way. But there's a collective consciousness, so which one is it? So I struggled with that for a long time, that idea of collective consciousness, and having an understanding and coming to my own beliefs about it. And even that, like, I don't know how Neville talks of the collective consciousness, or if he does, but I've definitely read, some authors' perspectives that I aligned with a lot of what they said. But the moment they say that, I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. I mean, not in terms of everything else they've said, but I just don't subscribe to that notion. It does not make sense to me with the true nature of reality. It doesn't match. It doesn't make sense at all. And so what's really happening is the all that is, which is the consciousness of everything, like the one true consciousness that is not separated in any way, is eternally experiencing different perspectives of the all that is. So that's what's happening. And like I said, when you become aware of something, when I become aware of something in consciousness, I am manifesting that whole world where that is existing and playing out the way it's playing out. It always comes back to the source. So if you're having a perception of reality, the goal is for you to expand your consciousness beyond that perception into one that you desire. That's it. That's all we have to do. We don't have to worry about everyone else. We don't have to get everyone on board. We don't have to, think about the collective and why is this happening and what we all must be thinking individually, because that's part of the beautiful grand illusion, is that consciousness is separated into different beings that lived in different time periods, that are of different genders, that live in different countries, that have different experiences and different, circumstances and different struggles. And none of that is true. That is just the one beautiful consciousness experiencing different perspectives of the all that is. So this is why all scripture keeps reminding you to return to the source. Return to the source. Do not be afraid. Do not worry about what's happening out there. Do not continue to put attention on it and awareness on it. Do not be afraid of it. Do not look at it as this powerful villain and you're this helpless victim. Understand that that is the illusion. Consciousness is eternal. It is eternal and it is one. And as are the different perspectives that consciousness can have, they are also eternal. When you rise above in consciousness, excuse me, you don't change a one definitive world. You are simply not being conscious of it, which means consciousness, the all of consciousness, is perceiving a different experience now because there is only one consciousness. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to struggle with that. And I get it. Like I said, I did for decades. Ask your questions, comment. I'll do my best to answer. And yeah, I'll probably just keep saying the same thing though, because that's really what it just comes down to. So you do your part by persisting in consciousness, the reality that you wish to experience, which means you're not trying to make anything change out there. You are living as if, you're walking as if, you're feeling as if, you're thinking as if, you're behaving as if. You're not reliant on the 3D reflective experience to determine how you show up every day. You're feeling the way you want to feel. You're assuming the things you want to assume. You're the projector. You have to project. Thank you guys for being here. If you haven't checked out my website, there's a link in the description below. I have restructured my coaching platform and I'm now offering a free session to those that haven't worked with me in the past. And I have some great coaching plans on there as well. Thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, and definitely for commenting. I feel really grateful that I have this platform and this space to continue to have these conversations and expand the concepts of consciousness, manifestation, and creation with you guys. So I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Thanks so much. See you next week.